Today we're going to be making a couple of really delicious recipes for dinner. First, we're going to start off by making egg roll in a bowl. It's a really good S meal on Trim Healthy Mama. It's very filling, very satisfying, and extremely delicious. And for dessert, I'm going to be making you a decadent chocolate muffin. And it's going to be a good one. You're going to be surprised the ingredients we use and how delicious these come out. So join me today. So we're going to start off by adding 1 to 2 tablespoons of sesame oil to our pan. This is a toasted Japanese sesame oil that I buy. It's really good. I'm actually going to be cooking up my onions. Now, I froze a lot of onions already chopped from my garden, but you'll be using 1 medium onion chopped. And I'm just gonna cook this up, and then I'm gonna be adding some hamburger meat to that. All right, so while our onions are cooking, we're gonna start off by shredding up our cabbage. Now, you can use a shredder or you can cut the cabbage yourself, but you're gonna take a head of cabbage and just cut your cabbage slices thinly. I'm now browning the ground beef. Now the directions actually say to put the ground beef in first. I usually do my onions first, so you do it any way you want. If you want to follow the directions, you know, brown up your meat first. It doesn't matter. This will just take up a couple minutes, and then I just shredded up about 1/2 of a carrot just to give it some color. And we'll be putting this all together shortly. Now I had a very small cabbage, so I'm using the whole cabbage. But if you have a large cabbage, you'll just want to use 1/2 of that. This is a 93% lean ground beef. There's only 7% fat in this. So I try to get these as lean as I can. I actually found a couple of really ground turkeys with Italian seasonings this morning. So I'll be making some of those in the next week. And you could make this with ground turkey, or if you would prefer, you know, to use ground beef or ground chicken, whatever it is that you like to use. It just calls for some kind of a ground meat with this recipe. I like ground beef, so that's what I'm using today. And as soon as this is browned up, we're going to add some seasonings to it. I've already put together about 4 tablespoons of some soy sauce. I put in some ginger as well as some freshly minced garlic. And so I'm going to be adding those to this mixture just as soon as it's done. Now, if you notice on this, I'm actually not cooking this in a skillet. I'm using a large pan. That's just because I've got this shredded up cabbage. I don't want it spilling all over the skillet. So I'm almost done cooking my ground beef. And then we're going to be adding our liquid mixture of seasonings. I think right now I'm going to go ahead and add some salt and pepper. Now it also calls for something called, you know, basically some red pepper flakes. I actually use this mild chili crisp called Mr. Bing. And it's just a really good chili seasoning that I put in some of my, you know, Japanese or Chinese foods that I'm making. So I'm just going to put like a 1/2 teaspoon of that right over it. It's not going to make this real hot. It's a mild chili paste, but it just makes everything so good. It really does. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add my soy sauce mixture to this. I'm going to give that a little stir. That smells great already. Boy, nothing better than onions and garlic cooking in just about anything. I'll put a little bit more soy sauce. I don't really think I had enough. And a little bit more of this chili crisp. You have to kind of stir it because all the chili flakes paste stuff kind of goes to the bottom. And you don't have to put any of this in. If you don't like any kind of chili flavorings in yours, you don't have to. It's not a big deal. It's going to taste just as good just with the soy sauce and ginger garlic seasonings. All right, so we're gonna add our cabbage. We're gonna add our carrots. And like I said, this is only about 1/2 of a carrot shredded. It's just really gonna give it some color. Now you're just gonna continually stir this up. You want this cabbage to just blend up really good in this, with this egg roll in a bowl. And as soon as the cabbage starts to cook, it's gonna release more liquids and it's gonna wilt down. And you're gonna see what we're starting off with like, you know, this whole thing of cabbage is gonna turn into like 1/2 a pan, which is perfect. That's what the recipe calls for. Okay, so I've got my egg roll in a bowl, the consistency that I like it. It's definitely wilted down the cabbage, but I really like to have my cabbage a little bit crunchy. I don't like it completely cooked down. So at this point, I'm gonna put in 2 chopped onions. Now I've already added my salt and pepper, but if you would like additional salt and pepper to taste, you go right ahead. And I am gonna take this off the heat at this point. And then we are gonna eat just as soon as my husband gets back. So probably in the next 15-20 minutes, he'll be back and we'll go ahead and start eating our dinner. He's gotta leave early today, so I tried to make dinner a little earlier. So to make our muffins, we're gonna be doing that right in our food processor. If you have a Ninja, you could use that. Food processor works great. Now this is not a Trim Healthy Mama recipe, but I did find it. It looked really good and healthy, so we're gonna give it a try. All right, so we're gonna add our 40 milliliters of water. And from there, we're gonna be putting in 40 grams of egg whites. So all I'm doing to make this really easy is that I'm zeroing this out every time that I add another something or other, because you know, I don't really have measuring things for grams, but it's a good way to use your little scale and it'll tell you. So for this, we're gonna add 40 grams of egg whites. I'm using liquid egg whites. Then we're gonna be putting in 40 grams of butter. Alrighty. Then we're gonna put in 40 grams of cocoa powder. Then we're gonna be putting in 20 grams of our Naked Whey Protein. This is the Naked Whey. I use this because it doesn't have any sucralose in it. It's just really a good protein powder for me. Sucralose pretty much gives me an instant headache. Then we're gonna be putting in 20 grams of a gluten-free protein pancake mix. We're gonna use this instead of the flour. And I use the King Arthur brand. I actually bought this online at Amazon. All right, then we're gonna be putting in 6 drops of liquid stevia. This is stevia that I grew out of my garden. And let's see what else. Then we're gonna be putting in 90 grams of drained black beans. I know that sounds crazy. Okay, this one we're gonna do 90 grams of black beans. And then we're gonna be putting in some xylitol. Now, I don't use this in coffee or anything like that, but I am gonna use it to bake with this time. And to that, we're gonna be putting in 40 grams of xylitol. All right, and then we're gonna put in a teaspoon of baking powder. And we we are going to put this through our food processor and blend this up really good. We're gonna puree this. Pureeing it because we want those black beans completely incorporated. All right, we're just gonna spoon some of this chocolate mixture into each cupcake tin. Now comes the real treat. We're gonna add a chocolate candy on each one of these. Now you choose whatever kind of chocolate candy you want to add. This is kind of a little splurge. You can't eat a ton of these, but you can eat these every once in a blue moon. All right. There we go. So we're gonna put this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees, and we are gonna bake this for 10 to 12 minutes. So I'll bring you back as soon as they're done. Our egg roll in a bowl and our delicious muffins are ready to serve, so we're gonna be having dinner. So this is my egg roll in a bowl, and these are our Decadent chocolate muffins. We're gonna go ahead and give the egg roll in a bowl a little taste test, and I'm gonna have the muffin a little bit later. All right, let's give it a try. This is a really healthy and delicious meal. That is so good. Wow. Sometimes I just can't believe I'm eating healthy food. It's all so good. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, please consider subscribing. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring that bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.